Welcome to the Mind Body Podcast, your rebellious podcast about a strong body, calm mind, healing, and fully living. I'm your host, Maria Angelova, creator of the Angelova Method, an integrative approach to mind and body connection. The Angelova Method redefines your success equation to include a healthy body and a healthy mind. Hi, Rebels. Welcome to the Mind Body Podcast, your rebellious podcast with me, your host, Maria, where it is all about a strong body, calm mind, healing, and fully living. And today we have a very special guest, a dear friend and colleague, Robin Raflo, who is the program lead of Women's Heart Health at Piedmont Hospital. Welcome, Robin. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Maria. So glad to be here.
I am excited you're here because I've told you before, you guys run one of those programs that I think every hospital should run, every physician should recommend, because I would say, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think you look at the person as a whole, as a body, mind, and spirit, and you support your patients and your clients holistically. And I think that is so unique. And selfishly from where I stand, or subjectively from where I stand, I think that is so beneficial for the full healing of somebody. So before we dive into that, Robin, let's get to know you. And you're going to give us 3 words that tell us who Robin is and a little bit of a backstory behind each word.
Oh, gosh. I would say 3 words that describe me are decisive. I can be very decisive, almost to a fault, because sometimes I'll just jump right in there. I would say I'm playful. I love to be playful and to just have fun and have that kind of carefree attitude and energy. And thirdly, I would say feisty. I can get very competitive. I can get, have some of that, playful energy turning into a more of a feisty energy, which can be fun, but also, I have to watch that sometimes.
But I'm smiling because I'm like, yeah, of course, that is why you're here, because you have feisty, playful energy. And I'm also thinking, just this week, our mindset topic was decision making. And I think they're kind of like the 2 sides of decision making. One, you can be really quick about decision making, but then there is the opposite, where you can never make a decision, because what we were talking about is you get in your head and you start overthinking and overanalyzing, and then you never make any decision.
Right, so, that analysis paralysis, right? Yeah.
So, and I'll tell you, I'm more like there. Now I'm more aware to where, like, just make a decision and move forward.
Right. I'm married to one of those. So that can be fun because we're very different in that regard.
Well, I do have to tell you, my husband is an engineer. So as I'm becoming more adventurous and like letting my rebelliousness and my spontaneity be out, you can definitely like see the almost like the horror in his eyes of like, oh my gosh, like what are we doing? I'm like, let's just jump in. Like let's just do it. It's fun. And I think that is definitely fun to us too, right? To just go for it.
Yeah, but it's good to have that balance, especially within a couple, because you can both kind of, slow each other down and help the other one make a choice and run with it. But yeah, it's a good balance, I think.
That could be a whole other podcast episode of relationships and balancing that out from multiple. Yes. Right? So let's switch topics and let's go to originally what I started talking about, and like maybe give us a little bit of a history of how did you get the idea to start this program? Like what was like people need more than just the traditional medical Western medicine approach to healing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, to give credit where credit's due, this certainly wasn't my brainchild. This program, I'm just fortunate enough to be the leader of it, along with my colleague April. But this program was spawned from initially our physician director, Dr. Sharma, who was meeting with her female clients and really found so clearly that they just were not getting the support that they needed. They weren't getting the community that they desired after some of these really intense heart events that they were experiencing. And so, it was clear that there was a gap in care there. And so the Women's Heart Program was created out of that mission to really knit together some community, some support, some real hard-hitting interventions that women can rely on. And so it's been a process within the last, I'd say 4 or 5 years as this has grown and developed. And it started off as just kind of a little heart screening, which we have still in the works, a flat rate heart screening where you meet with a nurse practitioner, you gather all of your baseline metrics, get a really clear understanding of your own cardiovascular health. And then the support network was born from that. And that is where Avril and I lead, and we have just a super robust calendar of all different types of events and classes and wellness coaching that we offer. And it's all addressing your holistic wellness, your whole person health, which includes stress resiliency, nutrition, and exercise and movement, and everything in between. So we get to partner with amazing collaborators like yourself. And we really pride ourselves on bringing in people who are really well aligned with our mission, who kind of have a similar mindset as us, and who are kind of the best of the best. So we appreciate you, Maria.
Thank you so much for that shout out. You know that I really believe in what I do and in the power of it. So I take that as a huge compliment from somebody who is managing such an amazing program. And you brought up 2 keywords, and one is community and, well, 3, I guess, community and support. I'll kind of lump those together. Mm-hmm. And, you've heard me, I always talk about the power of the tribe and having like-minded people who understand, people who you feel safe with, people who you don't feel like you'll be judged, who, maybe can just listen instead of give you advice on what to do. And talk a little bit about that as far as importance for healing, because I'll tell you, I recently had an elective surgery, and it definitely impacts you mentally. Now, I'm somebody who is very healthy and very strong, which are 2, huge pluses, and it was an elective procedure. But the first few days were, rough. And I could totally see how somebody can go down like mentally and very fast, because I couldn't move the way that I want to. I was dependent. I couldn't do basic things. And somebody who talks about positivity and all those things, I had a little prep talk from my doctor, and I reached out to my support system of, people who do similar things, and be like, can you just prop me up? Because those are the people, when you don't feel well, when you feel crappy and you're like, I just want to sleep in bed, to where I'm like, no, I need to get up. I need to move, I need to stay active. I need to do my breathing. I need to do my meditation, use my toolkit. When you don't feel well, sometimes you're like, I just don't want to do any of that. Yeah. So talk about what have you guys seen in terms of impact on your patients since the introduction of the program?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. And I love your backstory too, because that just really goes to show that no one has it all figured out, even all the experts per se, right? You always are gonna need some support at some point in your life, and that kind of inner motivation can take you far, but you're still gonna need that community. You're still gonna need that external support to boost you up a little bit. So that's exactly, one of our missions within Women's Heart. I think, we are we all have a really clear understanding that healthcare can only take you so far, right? And that, going into the doctor's office to get a prescription is only going to do so much with those underlying symptoms. And so, you know, Women's Heart is here to kind of knit that together in a much more cohesive way, so that, you know, you're not just speaking to the symptoms, that you are really addressing your whole person health and doing that work every day to support yourself in every facet of your life. And that is absolutely necessary to align yourself with how you want to show up in the world, and like how to be your best self. Like, what does that really mean for you? What does your best self mean? And so this program is really tailored to helping people cultivate those habits that will support your authentic self, no matter where you currently are. And so that's something that we really pride ourselves on, is that, you know, everyone is on their own journey, you know, and you're not going to be perfect in every aspect, and maybe not perfect in any of them, but you've got to start somewhere, right? And so our program is hopefully speaking to people who are all along that spectrum and helping you start somewhere, helping you to take those steps in some way to implement some of those healthy choices, whether that's, you know, even just like drinking more water, or, you know, trying to get to sleep in a, you know, an earlier way, or you know, putting some boundaries up for yourself, you know, whatever it might be, like learning how to do that and having that supportive community to hold you accountable and boost you up along the way, you know. So, you know, that's really what we're intending with our program. I mean, we have folks who you know, have never had any heart events at all. They might not even have, you know, any kind of condition. They might have just, you know, family history, or just want to be proactive and preventive. And so that's kind of the beauty of Women's Heart, is that, you know, we're meeting women at all areas of their path, you know, meeting them where they are, to just try to up level in all different types of ways. So, I mean, this program is open to everyone, which is really cool, man or woman, or however you identify. And, you know, not just Piedmont specific. So that's one of the cool, unique factors of the program.
You brought up, I will remember when I said there were two words. The second word, and you brought it up again, is alignment, which one of my favorite words, because I teach people physical alignment as well as mental and emotional alignment. And I think that is so key to even get people to understand what that means, because honestly, I think a lot of people are like, alignment, like, well, what does that mean? So I think that's so important. And then you talk about lifestyle, really, right? You talk about self-care and a certain lifestyle that's, and you said it addresses the underlying symptoms, not just gives you meds to cover up, the underlying causes, rather than just the symptoms that you're experiencing. And then also, I really want to emphasize this, that no matter where you are on your journey, to the point you, Robin, made, is you can start. It's never too late. The only bad part is if you don't start. But no matter where you are, even if you kind of feel like you're losing hope, start somewhere, because there's so many. I would tell you, sometimes I do movement sessions with people and they're like, wow, like we barely moved. And I'm like, you will be exhausted after this. And they're like, oh my gosh, I took a 3-hour nap. Like, I didn't realize how much work I was doing. It's because, again, you have to start. I mean, after my procedure, you know, I run all the time. I do Pilates all the time. I'm so strong, Robin. And I'll walk literally 15 minutes and I'm like, I need to go home and take a nap. When I take a nap, I'm talking like about a 2-hour nap, not like a 10-minute nap. Because my body was going through healing and recovery. But the important part is do it. Just do it, because the quicker you start and the more you start addressing the symptoms. And, you know, this is another part that I love. You guys start with the basics, right? It's hydration, it's sleep, it's nutrition, it's movement. It's not go and move a mountain. It's meet your body where it is and go from there. And day by day, as you get stronger and as you're consistent, you will start feeling better. That's like inevitable. And I think that is so important to emphasize and really to give people hope, because I don't know what do you guys see a lot of, like, if somebody is really kind of like giving up, do you guys have a support system that encourages them to join the program, or do most people come totally voluntarily on their own?
I would say it is mainly kind of you know, a self-led decision,
Mm-hmm.
but we do have a wellness coaching program where we reach out to people who are referred to us. And so, we can encourage people to get involved that way. And that is a little bit more of an intensive um, kind of deep dive into what we're all about, what we're addressing. And so that's one aspect. That one is Piedmont specific. So if you are a Piedmont patient, you have access to that. But all of our other events and classes are open to everyone, and that is kind of where the meat of the support and community lies, and that's quite you know quite often where everyone finds that ongoing education and community that they're looking for. So, but I really love that, Maria, of just your testament to listening to your body and understanding that sometimes you need to slow down and you need to rest in ways that might not be as comfortable for you, and that's exactly what alignment means to me, right? Is like you're able to kind of drop in and take a step back and listen to what it is that you really need, even though you're well accustomed to working hard and sticking to your routine and doing it all, right? So I love that. That's really cool.
I can't tell you how many times I hear this, and maybe you do too. I talk to people a lot about chronic stress and managing chronic stress. I cannot tell you how often I hear people say, well, I'm used to it. And it's
Yeah,
like, okay, that's great. Well, that's really not great. But aside, that does not mean chronic stress is good for you just because you're used to running stress 100% of the
yeah,
time. Yeah, and I tell people, chronic stress will kill you, not today, not tomorrow, but over time, it will start impacting your health. So at that point, it becomes a choice of, do you listen or do you keep pushing? And I think as a
yeah,
society, we're so taught to push, push, push. And I will tell you, you know that I was planning to teach some of the group online classes. I was definitely not planning to doing the work, but I was just planning on, speaking. And post my surgery, I couldn't even speak loud. So I was like, there is no way I can teach. And I had to cancel classes. And I will tell you the grace that I got from my clients and the support and from my colleagues who were like, absolutely, honor yourself, take as much time as you need to. That right there that goes back to the power of community and support and people who encourage you to say, yeah, stay in alignment, listen to what's good for you. Because you know what good am I to anybody if I feel crappy and not good? Like, how am I going to spread positivity and great energy if I feel like I want to use a bad word, like shit, Like, it doesn't work that way. We have to be whole and full so that we can serve everybody around us, our families, our clients, our colleagues. And I think from the receiving side, also encouraging people to be like, you know what, take the day off.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
encouraging people to do that versus judging it and making snotty comments, and like, let's encourage each other to feel good. Like, how much different would the world would be if you're like, take the day off and go do something for yourself so you can recharge your batteries.
yes, yeah. And that is a practice, isn't it? I mean, it's not something that we're brought up learning about or feeling through as a person. It's like, especially for someone who is in the helping profession and also a female, right? I feel like we're a little bit more hard hit with that. Is that we're conditioned to believe that um, you know our own prioritizing ourselves is selfish, and that, we're just, it's really tough to put yourself first. That can even sound like distasteful, right, and selfish. But I learned the hard way that if you really want to access your power and figure out who and what your highest self is, then that is 100% required. And I think it can be kind of addicting to always be serving others and fighting for a certain cause or something like that, and you can quickly lose sight of yourself, and I kind of learned how to get back to myself through like a lot of practice, a lot, like several years of massive change and supportive structures to really shift that dynamic. And it takes work, but I think it's so vital to do that.
I think that's very important, because what I tell people is start small, but be consistent, because consistency, and like I said, is you start feeling better and better. Like I was laughing with somebody today because I still cannot work out, and she goes, man, she's like, most people will be like overjoyed, they have an excuse not to work out, and they're like, you're stressing out about working out. It is such a habit that now my body is like, what are we doing? Like, I'm so confused, because it's not something that I'm like, oh, I have to go do. My body just knows we're going to work out today. And I know that's going to make me feel better, give me more energy, recharge me, right? So now I have to find alternative ways. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Walking it is. We're going to be walking the next few months. And that's it. But consistency, because you make a fantastic point. I think we also have lost track that good things take time to build. Good habits take time to build. We want that overnight, like, I'm gonna, pop a pill, do this, do that, and everything is miraculously going to change. We don't change habits like that, right? It's consistently, and one day is better than the other. The more you do it, the more it becomes an intuitive thing that you don't have to do it, but you want to do it, and it's just not part of your day.
Yeah, and it takes time to get there, and that's totally okay. And I think it's just, being gentle with yourself and, finding some accountability partners or just some friends or someone who can kind of walk with you through that. And even if that's not, available to someone, you can pull a lot of that from yourself, from internally as well too, or even like online resources or people who inspire you. And so it's, I know that can be really hard to say, well, just go find your tribe or find people who can help you, but that can be tough. So just know, like, you have that within you as well, and there are other resources beyond that. And like you're saying, I mean, just starting somewhere is important, and it, pretty soon you'll have, you'll look 6 months from now, a year from now, and be like, wow, it really is like an ingrained habit now. Like, this is part of my core identity, and that's really cool.
Yeah. And I think, tell me if you agree with that. I do think the more authentic and true to yourself you stay, the more it's not a matter of searching your tribe, but the right people kind of start showing up. I'm continuously amazed of the incredible, absolutely incredible people I meet that are so aligned. Like, we started talking, like, aligned in terms of values and goals and purpose. It's just like, like energy attracts like energy. So I think the more you are true to who you are, the more those kind of people will come around you.
Oh, absolutely. And that's evident in every aspect, right? Not just people, but like when you start believing something, you start attracting that in, right? And once you start really kind of locking it into your cellular knowing and that intuition that is within you, it's like that you're like a magnet to all of that, right?
It's a beautiful experience. And honestly, if you haven't experienced that, I think it's very hard to explain to people, because people are like, what?
Yeah.
Just trust me, stick with the journey, and you'll be amazed of the life which unfolds in front of you. Because honestly, I think I've shared this with you, Robin, like, the way my life has unfolded after I took that one decision, in a million years, I would have never imagined how different life could be when you live in alignment with yourself. It's just a totally different.
And you might not even know what that is, and that can be an ambiguous statement, right? And that's okay. But it's the kind of listening to that little small voice within you, like, oh, this just doesn't feel right, or I feel off today, or I'm just, I wish there was something more to this, whatever it might be, that's what you kind of have to hone in on. And I think in our kind of modern culture with all of our conveniences, right, it's so easy to kind of push that away and just ignore it and go on with your day to day. But I think it can be really beneficial to slow down and maybe just sit with that, even if it's uncomfortable and unfamiliar, just to sit with it and be still and quiet and kind of like tap into that intuition, because we all have it, even if you don't think you do.
And I think the more that we start, and I always tell people, okay, don't take my word for it, start testing it, and start testing it small and see what happens. Because like the first time you do it, you're like, oh, like, I don't know about this. But then you're like, oh, that worked. And then you're like, okay, a little bit braver, right? Because again, to what you said, we are not taught to trust our intuition. And when you start trusting your intuition and start being true to yourself, ooh, life just unfolds in front of you. Okay.
Yes.
To start wrapping up, I knew this would be a fantastic conversation. Tell me, like, what one piece of advice or a favorite quote you have for us, Robin?
Gosh, okay. Well, I would say one piece of advice, it goes kind of right hand in hand with what our what we were just talking about, but basically just tapping into your intuition more. We're all intuitive, and most of the time we're always kind of seeking other people's opinions, and that can really cloud your own clarity and your own insight. And so not being afraid to get quiet with yourself and get really clear on what it is you want, and just asking yourself these open-ended questions to really tap into that inner knowing. And then that is going to help you communicate clearly and speak authentically from that place of, heart-centered communication, right? And I think it's so easy in our culture these days to, just have things that are left unsaid and to hold back and just kind of like stifle, your own truth, especially in this day of like ghosting people and cutting people off. It's so easy to do, right? And so instead, like challenging yourself to kind of resist that and speak openly and transparently, because transparency is going to benefit everyone involved.
Yeah.
So that's
this just reminds me of a great book I read. It's called Getting Naked. I don't know if you have heard about it. Mm-hmm. It's a great read, and it kind of, I won't disclose the story, but it's kind of like a lot of what you just said. And it was like a great affirmation for me, because sometimes I get criticized for being direct and open. And I do think that serves us better rather than not.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have to ask you, what is your definition of rebellious?
My definition of rebellious, gosh, I would say someone who is really fighting for their highest sense of right. And, again, kind of coming back to that heart-centered communication and understanding that we're all connected and seeking similar things, like seeking love and support. And I think it's really easy to feel detached or fall into that trap of divisiveness and alienation. But when we lead with love and continually strive to kind of like open up the edges of your heart, that's rebellious to me. Not being afraid to go against the grain and stand out, even when it's uncomfortable. And, just always trying to open up your heart more through experiences or self-care practices or tapping into that inner knowing, whatever it is, that is hard stuff and rebellious.
I have to say, I love how you tied rebellious to opening your heart. I don't think anybody has ever done that. And I'm having kind of like, oh my gosh, that's what it is. And it is so powerful when you lead from the heart versus, I think I even did a post, I don't know, a month ago about leading from the heart and serving from the heart instead of because you want the next promotion or this or that. Just really being there to support. I mean, it sounds vague and big, but like humanity and every single human being out there, I think there's so much we can do, and life again can be so different if we go from a sense of love and support and acceptance and
yeah, and that's truly what I think our purpose is as people, and we can be so achievement obsessed and kind of like, what's the next thing to accomplish? But when we can pull it back and really distill it all down, it's like, oh, we're here to love and be loved and express love,
Yeah, I love it. Okay, Robin, so you guys are known for profit, right? So, and I do have to say, you guys, I have attended several events. The program offerings are so robust. I do wish I could attend more because every time I look, I'm like, oh, I want to attend like every single one of them. You really do a tremendous job supporting your patients and clients. Tell us a little bit more about where people can follow you, connect with you, seek support. And then if people want to donate and support the program, where can they do that as well?
Oh, thank you. Yes, we're a special program because we are completely free for anyone. So, whoever you are, you can participate in all of our events and classes at no charge. We are a hybrid program, so we have virtual events as well as in person, kind of all over the Atlanta area. And so the best place to find out what we're doing and all of that is to go to our website. You can subscribe to our newsletter right there, and that is definitely the easiest way to know what's coming up and how to register for things. We unfortunately don't have social media for our program because Piedmont is a little bit strict about that kind of stuff. So yeah, the website would be the best bet. And that's piedmont.org/women's heart support. And Maria, I'm sure will share that as well. Yeah. And then if you want to just follow me, I'm at Robin Raflo pretty much on every platform. And I'll occasionally kind of update my personal pages with what we're doing within the program too. So that's a good way to stay connected. And Robin, then donation wise, we do rely on philanthropic support to help with our programming. And so Piedmont Philanthropy leads the charge on that. And we have a link that we'll be sharing if you are led to help support us. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Robin, thank you so much for your time. I know you're on a very busy schedule, so I appreciate you making time to be here with us. Thank you I would say thank you for everything that you do for every single client and patient, because again, from somebody who does this kind of work, I know how far that work goes. So not just for the patient, but for their families, like for everybody who is around them. So it's a powerful program. You guys do a tremendous job running it. Again, thank you so much for your trust and support and being here, spreading your message and spreading love. And you guys, if you have any questions, any concerns, if you want to find more about the program, support the program, or definitely share the links with that, definitely let us know. If you have any questions, connect with Robin. And don't forget, stay rebellious. We will see you next time. Have an amazing one. Thank you,
Maria.
Did you enjoy the conversation? Like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Want to redefine your success equation to include a healthy body and a healthy mind? Check out our website at rebellious-studio.com.